भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि। अयि नन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ। कृपया तव पादपङ्कजा स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तया। नयनं गलत् अश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुद्धया गिरा। पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नामग्रहणे भविष्यति। युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे। आश्लिष्य वा पादतां करोतु वा विदधातु लम्पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापराः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much. You sang so beautifully. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Okay,
All your
so
blessings and mercy, माता जी।
Srila Prabhupada, Mercy Mataji. Very nice, very nice. And actually, this chapter is also about
Yes,
Shikshashtakam.
माता जी, so last.
Yeah, so very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much for setting the mood right. So let's start with the short prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you to continue our reading. As you all know, we are on the last chapter of Antya Lila. So that means this is the last chapter of Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit. So it's very beautiful chapter, and seniors describe that every scripture, towards the end of that scripture, we'll be seeing the essence of the teaching of that scripture, right? Like for example, Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, we see where Lord Krishna tells Sarv Dharman Paritajya, after giving all the knowledge, he tells that leave all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So he gives the crux in the last chapter. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 12, that's the last canto, when after describing all the different avatars, different pastimes of the Lord, then in the 12th canto, the verse comes about Nam Sankirtan, the glory of Nam Sankirtan. Nam Sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam pranamo dukkha samanas tam namami harina harim param. That means I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all material suffering. So again, there the crux. And now in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit, we are reading the Shikshashtakam prayers, which Lord Chaitanya personally gave. So like it has been mentioned in the previous classes also that Lord Chaitanya did not write any book as such. He gave teachings to Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami. He empowered them personally to preach and to write books, but he did not write any book himself. But he's given the crux of all the teachings condensed in the form of Sri Shikshashtakam, these 8 verses giving us the knowledge, the teaching. And these verses have appeared in different parts of Chaitanya Charitamrit, different Leelas and different chapters. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami then he condenses, brings everything together in this 20th chapter, the last chapter of Antya Leela. Okay. So till verse 31 word was completed by Mataji yesterday, and we'll continue 32 onwards. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, श्रीला कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। हरे कृष्णा। चंद्ररेखा माता जी यू कैन स्टार्ट 32 onwards.
Yes, Mataji.
32 to 35.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Text 32. Ai nanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budau kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. Oh, there is a tune for this. Six Ashtakam, right?
That tune, Mataji. You want to say again with that tune?
Yes, Mataji, I'll try.
Sure, Mataji.
Um, तेजो चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवति
Yeah, it'll
आईनन्
start like Ainand Tanuja Kim Karam. It'll start like
ओके
that.
ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितां मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलिदसदृशं विचिन्तया. Translation by Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O my Lord, O Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant. But because of my own fruitive acts, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nescience. Now please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Text 33. तुम्हारा नित्य दासा मुये तुम पाश्रिया पदिया चोन भावर नावे माया बद्धहाना. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada. I am your eternal servant, but I forgot your lordship. Now I have fallen into the ocean of nescience and have been conditioned by the external energy. Text 34. कृपा करी कारा मोरे पादा धूली सामा तुम्हारा सेवक करोति तुम्हारा सेवना. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada. Be causelessly merciful to me by giving me a place with the particles of dust at your lotus feet so that I may engage in the service of your lordship at your eternal servant, as your eternal servant. Text 35. Puna ati utkanta dhainya haila the udgama Krishna Thani Mage Prema Nama Sankirtana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Natural humility and eagerness then awoke in Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He prayed to Krishna to be able to chant the Mahamantra in ecstatic love. Hare Krishna Madhu.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So, verse 32 is one of the 8 verses of Shikshashtakam. A very beautiful verse where the devotee prays Lord Chaitanya is expressing that mood that, oh my Lord, oh Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant. But because of my own fruitive acts, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nations. Now, please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. So as we read through the Shikshashtaka, uh, the the verses, we can understand that they are so condensed with feeling. And Lord Chaitanya, just with these 8 verses, he's giving the essence of bhakti, what we should be doing, what we should be feeling, what, as devotees, what should our behavior be like, we should be cultivating humility, we should be cultivating tolerance. Then this feeling of separation from Lord Krishna, this feeling that we are stuck in this material ocean because of our conditioning, and praying to the Lord to be merciful to us. See, and here he says, now please be causelessly merciful to me. That's another sign of very deep humility, because the devotee is feeling, Lord Chaitanya is expressing this feeling that we don't feel that we deserve the mercy of the Lord also. Because if we feel we deserve the Lord's mercy, that means we feel that we are special, we have done something great, and because of which the Lord should bestow mercy on us. But when we are praying for causeless mercy, that means we are feeling very, very humble, and we are feeling that we have done nothing, to deserve the Lord's mercy. But yet, because the Lord's mercy is our only hope, so we are praying to the Lord. So these verses, though it just appears that they are just 8 verses, but they are, each verse is so condensed with emotion and feeling and learning that we should really spend time contemplating on each verse actually. And it is a practice of devotees to read these 8 verses every morning, and that is such a beautiful practice, because and we should do it very mindfully, like the reading of the 10 offenses, then the Shikshashtakam prayers. These are part of the morning program, done in all the temples, and many devotees do it at home also. So we should, even though we may not be able to visit the temple every morning, but we should try to do this at home also. These things, because why Prabhupada has asked us to do this, because it sets the mood for the whole day. Like, when we read the 10 offenses, then throughout the day, when we are chanting or before we start chanting, we read it. So we are conscious that we should not be making those offenses. And also throughout the day, we are conscious. In the same way, reading the Shikshashtakam prayers, that mood of a devotee, that humility, and the way our acharan should be, the way our feeling for the Lord should be, it kind of resonates with us throughout the day, and it is very, very important. So everything that Prabhupada has given us as a part of our daily sadhana, as a part of our morning program, it is very, very meaningful. It's not that he just picked up some random things, put it in a program, and give it to us. No, it's a very, very powerful morning program. And that is why devotees always recommend, seniors always recommend, that before we go out into the world, we start our duties. We have to do this part very nicely, so that our consciousness doesn't get affected, it doesn't get polluted throughout the day, because we have to do a lot of different things. And this will always keep us coming back to Krishna. His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, in a lecture, he was saying something very, very beautiful, that each of us has a home in our heart. Now, that home is a place or a thought or something that gives us a feeling of happiness and peace. And that is something that we will always keep thinking about. Our thoughts will always keep going to that place. And that is why it is called the home, because our home is a place of happiness, rest, and peace, right? This home in our heart, it could be anything. For some people, it could be money. They're always thinking of making money, and that gives them joy. For some people, it could be reading something. For some, it could be some art. For some, it could be some sport. It could be a person, anything. But when we are busy, once we stop whatever we are doing, naturally, what comes in our mind? That is our home. So he was saying that our attempt should be to make Krishna that home. That when we are doing sevas, when we are doing our job or whatever, we are busy, our mind is busy, physically we are busy or doing some activity. But as soon as that stops, where is our mind taking us? Is it something material, or is it taking us to Krishna? So that is what our attempt should be, to constantly go back to Krishna. then that will start feeling like the natural state. Otherwise, in the sadhana stages, what happens, at least with me, is that other things feel natural, but doing sadhana seems like a work. You're okay, I have to finish this and then I'll do something else. But actually, that should be our natural state of being. So our attempt should always be that we bring so much of Krishna conscious activities in our day that that starts feeling natural, because actually that is our natural state of being. Right now it is very unnatural, what else we are doing. So for this 1 hour that we spend together, and many of you are attending other classes also throughout the day, what you are doing in those hours, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavad Gita, hearing Chaitanya Charitamrit, joining the morning japa, or a reading and prayer, that is actually our natural state of being. So these practices that Prabhupada has given us, they assist us, they help us, so that throughout the day we are constantly thinking of Krishna. Like now, the way Shikshashtakam prayers are sung, it is so beautiful now. So now I'm sure today at least once or twice this melody will come in our mind. That is thinking of Krishna. So these classes are so wonderful. This morning program that Prabhupada has given us is so wonderful, because it keeps taking us back to our natural state of being. So we should try to make Krishna our home. Our thought should always run to Krishna. And that is what our aim should be, to always be Krishna conscious. That's why Prabhupada named the movement International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because he wanted our consciousness to go towards Krishna. So this verse number 32 is so beautiful. The mood is so amazing that it's full of humility and full of dependence on Krishna, and praying that consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Then in verse 33 we are reading that the same mood continues in these verses, that I'm your eternal servant, but I have forgotten you, and I have fallen into this ocean, and I have been conditioned by the external energy. So, be causelessly merciful to me by giving me a place with the particles of dust at your lotus feet. So, let me stay at your lotus feet. Please give me some place there, so that I can engage in your service. I can become your eternal servant. And in verse 35, we read that natural humility and eagerness then awoke in Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he prayed to Krishna to be able to chant the Maha Mantra in ecstatic love. So, Mahaprabhu, he is the embodiment of love, but he is showing us through these prayers what our mood should be. That we should pray to Krishna that we can chant the Maha Mantra in ecstatic love. Even for chanting the Maha Mantra, even for remembering Krishna, we have to pray to Krishna. It's not like we have this great ability that we can sit in meditation, we can chant so many different different mantras, and we can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for hours at an end. We are so able. That is not the mood. The mood is that praying to Krishna that I can chant the Maha Mantra in ecstatic love. So that is what the mood of the devotee is, and Lord Chaitanya is teaching us by his personal example. So next verse 36 is also one of the Shikshashtakam verses. Shobha Mataji, so you can read 5 verses.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Mahaprabhu ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila 20.36. Nayanam Galadhashrudharaya, Vadanam Ghatgatarudraya Gira, Pulakairnichitam Vabhutkada, Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My dear Lord, when will my eyes be filled with, beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice flatter and all the hairs of my body stand erect in transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name? Text 20.37. Premadhana vina vyatha daridra jivana Dashakari Vedana More Deha Premadhana. Translation. Without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray that
you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. Text 20.38. Rasadhara veshahaila viyoga sprurana udvega visada dhanye thare pralapana. Translation: the separation from Krishna awoke various mellows of distress, lamentation, and humility. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a crazy man. Text 20.39. Yughayitam nimeshena chakshusa pravishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Translation: My Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment a great millennium. Tears flow from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void. Text 20.40. Udvega divasanayaya kshane haila yuga sama varshana megha praya ashruvari se nayana. Translation: In my agitation, a day never ends, for every moment seems like a millennium. Pouring instances tears, my eyes are like clouds in the rainy season. Dandavad Pranam Mataji, Haribol, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji Haribol. So very beautiful set of verses. So Nayanam Galadashrudharya. So the devotee is praying. Lord Chaitanya is teaching us how a devotee prays, that waiting for that moment, that time when our eyes will be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down. Generally, nobody will pray for tears, right? Because it's considered a sign of pain. But these are not painful tears. These are tears of ecstasy that come in the eyes of a devotee when the devotee feels that deep longing and deep separation and deep love for Krishna. So that moment, is what the devotee is praying for. That when will my eyes be beautified by filling the tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? And devotees say that, when someone is really in love with the Lord, their eyes are kind of moist, they're not dry eyes. Like if you see any videos of Prabhupada, I'm sure all of you would have noticed that Prabhupada's eyes were never like very dry. And especially when he's doing deity worship or something, when he's looking at the deities, please do go and see. His eyes are a little moist. No, great devotees, they never make a show of their love. They never cry in public like, many other sahajiyas do. So great devotees don't do that. Even though they are feeling that deep love, they don't actually make a show of it. But at times we can get a glimpse of, what they're actually, feeling, their deep love. So that moment when a devotee's eyes are filled with tears which are gliding down while chanting the holy name, that is something the devotee is longing for, that moment. And when will my voice falter and all the hairs on my body stand erect? So these are symptoms of ecstasy, hair standing on end and voice faltering, and that feeling that transcendental happiness on chanting the holy name of Krishna. That is something very, very, elevated. And without love of God, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. So, what is life? What is the purpose? What is the meaning to life if there is no love for Krishna? So, the devotee is praying that, you please accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. Then in verse 38, we read that, these, what are the mellows that Lord Chaitanya is feeling? What is he experiencing? Separation from Krishna awoke various mellows of distress, lamentation, and humility. So Lord Chaitanya was feeling all these different emotions, and thus he was speaking like a crazy man. So externally he looked like a crazy person because he was having so many feelings, so many different mellows, distress, lamentation, humility. Everything was coming in. So externally, he appeared like a crazy man. And this feeling, that this prayer, that my Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment a great millennium. So when someone is very dear to us, any separation from them seems longer. So here, because the devotee is so attached to the Lord, even a moment appears like a great millennium. And tears flow from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void. So this is also a very beautiful verse from the Shishashtakam, that in your separation, everything is just a void. Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam. The entire world seems like a void. And why is that? Because you are not there. So without you, everything seems longer. The separation seems like a millennium and everything seems like a void. And then this verse of verse 40, that in my agitation, a day never ends. For every moment seems like a millennium. So everything seems longer. And again, this mention of incessant tears flowing. My eyes are like clouds in the rainy season. So, like clouds are pouring water in the rainy season, the devotee's eyes are pouring water. Okay, it's very, very beautiful verses. And these, the verses that we'll now be reading, these are expressing Radharani's emotions, which Lord Chaitanya is also experiencing now, the separation from Lord Krishna. Okay, next, Kripa Mai Sita Devi Dasi Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Am
Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Text 41. Govinda Virage Sunya Aila Tribhuwana Tusa Tasanale Pode Enana Ya Jivana. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. The three worlds have come void because of separation from Govinda. I feel as if I were burning alive in a slow fire. Text 42. Krishna Udasina Haila Karite Parikshana Saki Saba Kahi Krishna Kare Upekshana. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Krishna has become indifferent to me just to test my love, and my friends say better to disregard him. Text 43. Etika Chintiti Radhara Nirmala Hridayam Swabhivika Premari Swabhava Karila Udayam. Translation by Prabhupada KJ. While Srimati Radharani was thinking in this way, the characteristics of natural love became manifest because of her pure heart. 44. Irsya Utkanta Daina Praudi Vinaya Yeta Baba Ekatani Karila Udayam. Translation by Prabhupada Kiji. The ecstatic symptoms of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all become manifest at once. Text 45. Yeta Babira Dera Mana Astira Hailam Saki Gana Aje Prodi Sloka Hi Padilam. Translation by Prabhupada Kiji. In that mood, the mind of Srimati Radharani was agitated, and therefore she spoke a verse of advanced devotion to her gopi friends. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Haribol. So we are reading in this section, this this mood. Sorry. These sentiments that Radharani is expressing, that in separation from Lord Krishna, Govinda, the three worlds have become void. Now there's nothing that seems good in the world. Everything is like a void. I feel as if I were burning alive in a slow fire. Now these words we just read, and we have to understand, if some Radharani is saying this, then what is her mood? If someone can feel that they are burning alive, that means how much deep feeling they are getting. That separation is causing them so much pain that it really feels like they were burning alive. So it's not some very light kind of an emotion or anything comparable in this world. Really is not possible to find it. It is only possible, in separation from Lord Krishna, that Radharani is feeling. And then she says that he's become indifferent to me, and to test my love. And my friends say better to disregard him. because he's not giving you attention, so you better disregard him. And when she was feeling this way, when Radharani was thinking in this way, the characteristics of natural love became manifest because of her pure heart. So her love for Krishna is the purest, and that is why the characteristics of natural love manifested in her pure heart. And then ecstatic symptoms of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all became manifest at once. So all these, emotions are coming all at once. And in that mood, her mind is agitated. The mind of Srimati Radharani was agitated, and therefore she spoke a verse of advanced devotion to her Gopi friends. So let's read what she says. Okay. Swati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, धन्यवाद
Hare
प्रणाम।
Krishna.
सेई भावे प्रभु सेई श्लोक उच्चारिला, श्लोक उच्चिरी ते तद्रूपा आपने हरिला। Translation by the Prabhupada Ji. In the same spirit of ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that word, and as soon as he did so, he felt like Srimati Radharani. Aslishavapadaratham pinastum Aslishavapadaratham pinastumam Adarshanan marmahatam karotyuva Yata tata va vidadatu lampato Matprananatastu saevana paraha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ji. Let Krishna tightly embrace his maid servant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is debauchee. After all, can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipful Lord of my heart. आम्ही कृष्ण पादादासी तेन्हो रास सुख रसी आलिंगय करे आत्म तथा की बन ध्येय दर्शना जारे न मोरा तनु मना साबु तेन्हो मोरा प्राणनाथ. Translation by Sri Prabhupada Ji. I am a maid servant at the lotus feet of Krishna. He is the embodiment of transcendental happiness and melody. If he likes, he can tightly embrace me and make me feel, but or by not giving, his audience. He may corrode my mind and body. Nevertheless, it is he who is the Lord of my life. सखी हे सुन मोरा मनेर निश्चय किब अनुग्रह करे किब दुख दिया मारे मोरा प्राणेश्वर कृष्ण अन्य नया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ji. My dear friend, just hear the decision of my mind. Krishna is the Lord of my life in all conditions, whether he shows me affection or kills me by giving me unhappiness. Text 50. Chadi anya nari ghana mora vasa thanu mana mora saubhagya prakata kariya. Sasa bhare dheya pida ama sane kare pida teyi nari ghane dekana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ji. Sometimes Krishna gives up the company of other gopis and becomes controlled mind and body by me. Thus he manifests my good fortune and gives others distress by performing his loving efforts with me.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji, thank you.
Haribol. So we are reading in this section that in the same spirit of ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that verse, and as soon as he did so, he felt like Srimati Radharani. So the great mood of separation, the deep feelings that Radharani experiences, same is happening with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have read, right, that how towards the end of his Lila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went more and more into the mood of Radharani, the mood of separation from Krishna. Then verse number 47 is one of the beautiful verses from Shikshashtakam, where Radharani is praying uh, that let Krishna tightly embrace this maid servant. I mean, devotees praying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is bringing this mood out, that he may embrace me. I'm his maid servant who has fallen at his lotus feet. So Krishna may embrace me, or he may trample me, or break my heart by never being visible to me. So whether Krishna is reciprocating with my love by being present before me, embracing me, breaking my heart, trampling me, whatever he does, he is a debauchee. Debauchee is like, like a playboy, that kind of a word, but it's in the sense that even if, he's not reciprocating with my feelings, he's not giving me attention, he can do whatever he likes. But still, only Krishna and Krishna alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. So this is that feeling that we need to cultivate, that, it is Him and nobody else. No, whether we are having problems in our lives or things are going smoothly, we pray for something, we don't get that, prayer answered. Sometimes life just seems impossible. Everything seems to be going wrong, but the devotees, they never give up the service of Krishna. It's not like if things get hard, they just stop worshipping Krishna, they stop chanting. No, that is totally unaffected. Their sadhana, their love, their preaching, their chanting, their reading, everything just keeps going as smoothly as it was, even in times of trouble. So that is the level that, we should aspire to reach, that no matter what he does, he is my Lord and he's going to be the worshipable Lord of my heart, no matter how he treats me. Now, Krishna is not someone who's cold, and who's detached and he's not caring about his devotees. He's not like that. He's the most loving Supreme Lord. So, yes, if some prayers are not getting answered, some things are not going our way, that is also Krishna's mercy. We may not realize it at that time, but we have to have that faith that if my Lord is letting this come to me, then there is some plan he has for me, which I will know later. So it is something very difficult, easier said than done, very difficult to do. But why are we reading these prayers? So that we know that this is where we need to reach. This is where our consciousness should be, that no matter what, I will still love Krishna. He is the Lord of my life, nothing else and no one else, and nothing can take me away from this path. That is how strong and stern we should be. And then in verse 48, I am a maid servant at the lotus feet of Krishna, and he is the embodiment of transcendental happiness and mellows. If he likes, he can tightly embrace me and make me feel oneness with him, or by not giving me his audience, he may corrode my mind and body. Nevertheless, it is he who is the Lord of my life. So the same sentiment is being expressed. No matter what he does to me, he is the Lord of my life. And my dear friend, just hear the decision of my mind. Krishna is the Lord of my life in all conditions, whether he shows me affection or kills me by giving me unhappiness. So Radharani is telling her friends, and the same emotion that Lord Chaitanya is also feeling, that, this is my decision. He's the Lord of my life, even if he gives me unhappiness or kills me by giving unhappiness, whether he shows me affection or not, he is the Lord of my life in all conditions. Sometimes Krishna gives up the company of other gopis and becomes controlled, mind and body by me. Thus he manifests my good fortune and gives others distress by performing his loving affairs with me. So Radharani is saying that at times he ignores others and gives his time to me. He becomes controlled by me. And that is my good fortune. He's manifesting my good fortune and gives other distress by performing his loving affairs with me. That's what Radharani is saying. Okay, now moving forward, Krishnamurti Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी।
Pranam Prabhu.
की बातें हो लंपटा सता सता दृष्ट साकपाता अन्य नारी गानाकारी साता मोरा दीते माना पीदा मोरा आगे करे क्रीधा तेबुतेन हो मोरा प्राण te bhuten ho mora prananatha. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Or, since after all, he is a very cunning, obstinate debauchee, with a propensity to cheat, he takes to the company of other women. He then indulges in loving affairs with them in front of me to give distress to my mind. Nevertheless, he is still the Lord of my life. Okay. Uh, Text 52. Na, Nagani apana duka sabe vanchi tanra duka tanra suka amara tatpraya moraya diya duka tanra haila mahasuka seyi duka mora suka varya. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna. For his happiness is the goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura says that a devotee does not care about his own happiness and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose he engages in various activities. A pure devotee has no way of sensing happiness except by saying that Krishna is happy in every respect. If Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accepts that unhappiness as the greatest of all happiness. Those who are materialistic, however, who are very proud of material wealth and have no spiritual knowledge, like the pra- Prakrita Sahajayas, regard their own happiness as the aim of life. Some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. This is the mentality of fruitive workers who want to enjoy sense gratifications by making a show of service to Krishna. Text 53. ये 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 नारी रे वांचा कृष्णा तारा रूपे शास्त्राना तारे ना पाना हाया धुकी मुई तारा पाया पादी लाना याना आते धारी क्रीडा करण तानरे करो न सुखी. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. If Krishna, attracted by the beauty of some other woman, wants to enjoy with her but is unhappy because he cannot get her, I fall down at her feet, eat her hand and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness. Text 54. Kanta Krishna kare rosa Krishna paya santosha Sukha paya tadana भर्तसने याता योग्य कार्य माना कृष्ण ताते सुखपाना चाडे मानु अल्प साधने. Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. When a beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger towards Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is extremely with when pleased when chastised by such a gopi. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys the attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor. Text 55. Seyi nari jiye kene Krishna marma vyatha jane tabu Krishna kare gaha ताबू कृष्ण करे गधा द्रोसा निजा सुके माने काजा पादुका तारा सिरे वाजा कृष्णेरा मात्रा चाहिए ये संतोषा. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger toward him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head, head with a thunderbolt, for we simply want the happiness of Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A devotee who is satisfied only with his own sense gratification certainly falls down from the service of Krishna. Being attracted by material happiness, he later joins the Prak- Prakrita Sajayas, who are considered to be non-devotees. Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare
Pranams
Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Pranam, Prabhu. So, in this section, we are reading that, starting with verse 51, that Radharani is saying that Krishna is very cunning, obstinate, with a propensity to cheat. If he's going to different gopis, he takes to the company of other women. He then indulges in loving affairs with them in front of me to give distress to my mind. Nevertheless, he's still the Lord of my life. So whether he is with others also, it doesn't matter. He's still a lot of my life. I do not mind my personal distress. So this pain that I am getting, that is not relevant. That is not important. I just wish to see Krishna happy, because Krishna's happiness is the only goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness. So if Krishna is finding joy in giving me distress, then I'm happily accepting this distress. So Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that how his Guru Maharaj said that a devotee does not care about his own happiness and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose he engages in various activities. Now, if Srila Prabhupada had just thought of his comfort and his happiness, he was very happy and comfortable at Sri Radha Damodar in Vrindavan. But he was thinking of what would make Krishna happy, what would make his Guru Maharaj happy. And so he went out and he was doing things which were, uncomfortable. But the whole desire is to see Krishna happy. For devotees, that is the motivation. They don't care about their personal inconveniences. So a pure devotee has no way of sensing happiness except by seeing that Krishna is happy in every respect. Okay. So, and then he explains that if Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accepts that unhappiness as the greatest of all happiness. So the joy of Krishna is the most important thing. Then it is mentioned that those who are materialistic, very proud of material wealth, they don't have any spiritual knowledge like the Prakrita Sahajas, they think that their own happiness is the aim of life. But that's not the case with devotees. Okay. So the Prakrita Sahajas, some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. But the devotee, that is a difference in the mentality. For the devotee, their personal enjoyment is nowhere in the picture. Okay, they're not thinking of enjoying with Krishna. They are thinking of being enjoyed by Krishna. So if I can give happiness to Krishna, that is all I want. My personal enjoyment, that's the mood of a devotee, that their personal enjoyment is not important. They don't consider that important. And then verse 53, very extreme statement that if Krishna is attracted by the beauty of some other woman and he wants to enjoy with her, but is unhappy because he cannot get her. So, if there is such a case where Krishna wants to enjoy with someone, he cannot be with her, then Radharani is saying that I will fall down at her feet, catch her hand, and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness. So, there is no possessiveness here that Krishna should enjoy only with me. If Krishna can get more enjoyment with someone else, I will bring that person to Krishna. And when a beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger toward Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is extremely pleased when chastised by such a gopi. So Krishna would have these funny, fun moments, light moments of teasing with the gopis and showing. And if some gopi was showing anger, Krishna would enjoy that. That would also satisfy Krishna. That was a different rasa that Krishna was experiencing with them. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys that attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor. So that is the fun, light, friendly interaction that Krishna would have with the gopis. But then in the verse 55, she says that why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger toward him? So yes, some amount of anger showing to Krishna till it is light-hearted, and Krishna is also enjoying that. But if Krishna's heart is getting unhappy, and this woman is still continuing to show anger, then that's not right. Then that means that she is interested in her own happiness. So yes, some rasa that Krishna enjoys, it's fine. But other than that, one has to give up that anger to please Krishna. So Radharani says that I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt, for we simply want the happiness of Krishna. So this thought of one's own happiness is being condemned here by Radharani. So the only consideration should be happiness of Krishna. Okay. Now let's read 56 to 60. Gandhimati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Text 56. येई गोपी मोर करे द्वेषे, कृष्णेर करे संतोषे, कृष्ण यारे करी अभिलाषा, मोई तारा करे याना, तारे से दासी हाना, तबे मोरा सुकेरा उल्लासा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. If a gopi envious of me satisfies Krishna and Krishna desires her, I shall not hesitate to go to her house and become her maid servant, for then my happiness will be awakened. Hare Krishna. Text 57. कुस्ति विप्रेरा रमणी पतिव्रता शिरोमणि, पति लागी कैला विषयेरा सेवा, स्तंभिला सूर्येरा गति जीयैला मृतपति, तुष्ट कैला मुख्य तीन देवा. Translation: The wife of a Brahmana suffering from leprosy manifested herself as the topmost of all chaste women by serving a prostitute to satisfy her husband. She thus stopped the movement of the sun, brought her husband back to life, and satisfied the three principal demigods Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Purport: The Aditya Purana, Markandeya Purana, and Bhatma Purana tell about a Brahmana who was suffering from leprosy but had a very chaste and faithful wife. He desired to enjoy the company of a prostitute, and therefore his wife went to her and became her maid servant, just to draw her attention for his service. When the prostitute agreed to associate with him, the wife brought her the leprotic husband. When that leper, the sinful son of a Brahmana, saw the chastity of his wife, he finally abandoned his sinful intentions while coming home. However, he touched the body of Markandeya Rishi, who thus cursed him to die to sunrise. Because of her chastity, the woman was very powerful. Therefore, when she heard about the curse, she vowed to stop the sunrise because of her strong determination to serve her husband. The three deities, namely Brahmana, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, were very happy, and they gave her the benedictions that her husband would be cured and brought back of life. This example is given herein to emphasize that a devotee should engage himself exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna without personal motives that will make his life successful. Hare Krishna. Text 58. Krishna mora jivana, Krishna mora pranadana, Krishna mora pranera prana, Hridaya upara udaran, seva kari sukhi karan, yehi mora sada rahidiyana. Translation: Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna is the treasure of my life. Indeed, Krishna is the very life of my life. I therefore keep him always in my heart and try to please him by rendering service. That is my constant meditation. Hare Krishna. Text 59. Mora sukha sevane, Krishnera sukha sangame, ate eva deha dinadana, Krishna mora kantakari, kahe mora praneshwari, mora hayatasi abhimana. Translation: My happiness is in the service of Krishna, and Krishna's happiness is in union with me. For this reason, I give my body in charity to the lotus feet of Krishna, who accepts me as his loved one and call me his most beloved. It is then that I consider myself his maid servant. Text 60. Kanta Seva Sukapura Sangama Haite Sumadura Tate Sakshi Lakshmi Takurani Narayana Ardhastiti Tabupata Sevayamati Sevakare Dasi Abhimani. Translation. Service to my lover is the home of happiness and is more sweet than direct union with him. The goddess of fortune is evidence of this, for although she constantly lives on the heart of Narayana, she wants to render service to his lotus feet. She therefore considers herself a maid servant and serves him constantly. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Another very beautiful section. And there's also a very nice story that is of a lady and her Brahman husband, but that shows how we should be thinking only of Krishna's pleasure. So in verse 56, we read that if a gopi envious of me satisfied Krishna and Krishna desires her, Radharani is saying that if there is a gopi who can, who Krishna desires for, and she can satisfy Krishna, then she is willing to even go to that gopi's house, become her maid servant, and so that she can satisfy Krishna. So in doing this activity, Radharani is saying that my happiness will be awakened. And then in this story of a Brahmana's wife, she was a very chaste and dutiful, very faithful wife. The Brahmana wanted to enjoy the company of a prostitute, but he was afflicted with leprosy. So this wife, she goes and she becomes a maid servant of the prostitute, so that the prostitute comes, and agrees to be with her husband. I mean, it's so incomprehensible that someone can have that level of dedication and love. But that's how chaste she was. And when
You're on mute, Mataji, can't hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you all hear me? Hare Krishna.
Now can hear Mataji. What's
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah, actually, there was a power cut, so I'll yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, so I was just talking about the Brahmana and his wife. So the lady is so chaste that he's doing something which is so difficult to comprehend, but she goes and serves at prostitute so she can satisfy her husband. And seeing that chastity of his wife, finally that Brahmana, he abandoned his sinful activities, his sinful intentions. But while coming home, he touched the body of Markandeya Rishi, who cursed him to die at sunrise. But because of the chastity of the wife, she was so powerful because of her chastity that when she heard the curse, she vowed to stop the sunrise because he was to die at sunrise. So she vowed to stop the sunrise, and her determination was so strong that Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, they were very happy, and they gave her the benediction that her husband would be cured and brought back to life. So this example is given to emphasize that a devotee should engage exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna without personal motives. So, like this wife of the Brahmana, she was not thinking of herself. She was just thinking of the happiness of her husband, and she was ready to go to extreme, actions and take extreme measures even to satisfy her husband. So, in the same way, we have to understand that Krishna is our life and soul, and all activities that make Krishna happy. That is what we should be engaging him, not thinking of our own inconveniences or our own happiness. That should not be the focus of our life. So this is what we are reading in verses 58 and then 59 also, that my happiness is in the service of Krishna, and Krishna's happiness is in union with me. For this reason, I give my body in charity to the lotus feet of Krishna. So Radharani knows that Krishna's happiness is in being with her. So she is willing to just give her body away at the lotus feet of Krishna, who accepts me as his own loved one and calls me his most beloved. It is then that I consider myself his maid servant. So she's willing to just completely give herself up in this for the satisfaction of Krishna.
And in verse 60, service to my lover is the home of happiness and is more sweet than direct union with him. So actually the greater joy is not when we are seeking our personal pleasure, but when we are seeking the happiness of Krishna. And then very beautiful example of Lakshmi Devi is given. Even though she is residing in the heart of Lord Narayan, still she is always massaging his lotus feet, right? Because service is what gives more joy. So she therefore considers herself a maid servant and serves him constantly. So this is the very beautiful a section that we read today, where the importance of selfless service was highlighted, and how Srimati Radharani is showing, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing that what the mood of a devotee should be. Okay, so we'll stop here today. If any questions, any comments. No? Okay. Okay, then thank you all so much for joining. We'll resume the reading next week.
Hare
Vancha
Krishna.
kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavnebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
namo
namo
namo.
namo Vaishnavrin ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you all so
Hare
much for
Krishna,
joining.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Go.